Tara. I am the Director of Operations to Albuquerque Film and Music Experience 2023. Welcome to the Start Love Theater. I'm going to make this short sweet because I know you're not here to see me. So, I just want to say, on behalf of AFMX, our Board of Directors, and our entire volunteer staff, welcome to AFMX 2023. Before we start our next event, we would like to thank our presenting sponsors. AFME Foundation, Albuquerque Film and Media Experience, Albuquerque Film and Media Incubator, Albuquerque Film Office and Film Liaison, Cindy McCrossan, yes, right? Burley Accounting Commissioner, Stephen Michael Casado, President Italia, Olive Oil, Enchantment Rain Films, iHeartMedia, Larry Schwartz and Wells Fargo Advisors, Jouster Road Productions, Tucci's Bar Roma, Real Solutions Airport Meet and Greet Service, Sunny 505, the Historic Logo Theater, University of New Mexico Film and Digital Arts, and Quiet Media. So, before we start our center-stage conversation about casting, I just want to remind everyone to please silence your phones, get your questions going, because this is going to be a fantastic panel. So I'm going to introduce our moderator, Carissa Mitchell. Awesome. So Carissa is of Mitchell and Associates. She is the owner and SAG-AFTRA franchise talent agent. For over 10 years, Mitchell and Associates has repped talent through its branches in Los Angeles and New Mexico. Prior to becoming an agent, Carissa co-produced projects that were designed to encourage the involvement of local film students, SAG-AFTRA students, actors, union mentors, and businesses in the support of independent productions. Welcome, Carissa.
Welcome, everybody. Mostly I'm just a mom and I'm bossy. So it's so good to see all of you here today. I am so honored to be here to moderate for these two. It's going to be like herding cats, and it's going to be really fun. So we're on for a fun ride today. I would like to introduce our two panelists today. Angelique Midthunder. Here she is. Welcome her to the stage. Angelique began her career in casting in the mid-90s after working internationally as an actress and discovering more of intrigue for casting process than for being in front of the camera. Angelique has also developed a special niche for casting Indigenous characters. Angelique has been nominated for an Emmy for her work in casting and for multiple Artios Awards, that's the Casting Society of America Awards. Her recent credits include Americana and How to Blow Up a Pipeline, upcoming Peter Berg's American Primeval for Netflix, A24's The Curse, we've got some people that booked that show here today, and Resball on Netflix. So welcome, Angelique. And then finally we have Marie McMaster. Please welcome her to the stage. I said we're going to be the bells of the festival, and now you see why, because of these two. It's lovely. Marie is an award-winning New Mexico casting director who's been a part of the New Mexico film industry for over 20 years. Marie's insider knowledge of the community and decades of experience on countless studio features and independent productions positioned her as a premier casting director in New Mexico. Marie has worked on a multitude of studio and independent projects, including her most recent work as the local casting director for Better Call Saul for AMC, Stranger Things for Netflix, Big Sky for ABC, and her work as a casting director and associate casting director on dozens of other projects. And she's passionate about spotlighting New Mexico talent, and I can attest to that for both of these ladies. So thank you. So I'm gonna ask them some questions that came from the internet and things that I know you guys want to hear, and then we will open it up for Q&A. So if you don't hear your question answered while we're talking, we will open it up for questions. I want to welcome Cottonwood Classical up in the back, a whole bunch of students. Thank you for being here. We want to hear your questions. Okay, so anyway, so we want to talk about what a casting director does, and start with that because I think some people don't. There's some mystique as to what casting directors do and what agents do, and those kinds of things. So we want to sort of look behind the curtain on that a little bit. And so I wanted to start with Angelique and just sort of say who hires the casting director.
The producers hire the casting director. A lot of times it's a production company or a network that you've worked for before. Or if it's a director that you've worked with before, they'll ask the producers to hire you. But we work for production.
And so when somebody hires you, what makes you decide to take a job?
I mean, the money. Just kidding. It's always artistic integrity every time. You read the script, you're like, I like it, I like the characters, I want to see this come to life. A lot of times it's a production company, the director, the writer. There's people that you're excited to work with. I was going to say that.
I love being on these panels where we always say what she said. How much of the character breakdowns do you guys get to do? And do you like doing that, Marie?
I love doing it, but it's a lot of collaboration with the director usually. Sometimes we could send off the breakdown to come back, but we do a lot of tweaking based on what we know. And, I always tell people to don't put all your eggs in the breakdown basket because we know more than you know.
Yeah, and we like to think outside the box. I think Marie and I both do that. You see something on paper, but that's what the writer wrote. But also we've had conversations with the director, or we just know the talent pool. So we'll think of outside the box ideas. And I've actually had agents and actors come to me and say, well, this person that you requested doesn't fit the breakdown. Well, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, trust us. I get a lot of declines for auditions from people saying, oh, well, I'm not, 6'2", African American. It's like, well, I can tell that from your headshot. I still requested you for a reason. So, trust us that we know our side of the job. And then you do your side of the job, and then we can work together.
That's great. What is the difference between a casting director and a local casting director? And what is the difference? Location, yes. But what is you have both done both. So here in New Mexico, you primarily do local casting. I know sometimes you're the actual casting director for the whole project. Who do you answer to when you're doing the local casting?
I still answer to the producers and the director. I think that's kind of a misnomer that we answer to LA casting. I mean, every once in a while we'll run things by them, but generally it is a collaboration.
Yeah, and to answer your question specifically, the difference between the casting by credit and the location casting is, obviously location casting is hired to cast the local actors, which is the reason for that is simply budget 100% of the time. It's like the UPM or the line producer broke down the budget and said, these are the actors that we can afford to throw money at and travel them in and put them up in fancy hotels. And the rest of the roles, we're going to look for them locally, especially in a market like New Mexico where there is such a thriving talent pool. I think they're really trusting us more and more over the past, me and I have been working, together in this market for over 20 years. I think I know I've seen it grow tremendously, and I'm sure that you have too. And all of the shows and opportunities that we've had here, the word gets back to LA, and so they trust us. And so, depending on the size of the budget of the film, they'll bring in 2 actors or 12 actors or whatever it is, and then the other 27 roles will fill here.
And sometimes we can have that conversation too. If LA has their breakdown and New Mexico has their breakdown, we know on talent pool, wait a minute, we'd like to see some of those LA roles here because we have the talent to fill those roles.
Yeah.
So And a lot of times they go, oh, really? We didn't realize your pool was that deep. It's like, oh, yeah, it's that deep. Let me try.
And the producers love it because it saves them money. As you know, if you're a New Mexico resident, they get a rebate on your salary and all of their expenditures. So it's a win-win.
And I have to publicly thank you and the acting pool for leveling up. And we have had recurring roles and leads and guest stars and those kinds of things. More and more every year we've had more because you're trusting the acting pool and you're staking your reputation on telling your clients and producers that you trust those actors.
And I even have to tell you on say on Reservation Dogs, we did auditions in LA, and I snuck a few New Mexico actors in out of the LA pool. And throughout the seasons, we've had a couple of New Mexico actors book where the producer didn't even know where they were coming from. We ended up flying them out and putting them up, and that was like kind of fun.
That's great. Here's a question I got from the internet. How much power do you have in booking an actor for a certain role?
Not a ton. I mean, that is also something that's sort of the rumor mills, the misnomers. It's like casting director never casts me. And it's like, well, I always make the joke, if I got to pick who got cast, all of my friends and family would have houses at a Fiji. We don't get to make those decisions. But what we do is we stake our reputations on your hard work. You know, we trust you. We've seen you working. We've seen, what you can bring to the table. So we do. We go out and say, I totally trust this person. And sometimes the director will go, what about this person? I'm kind of torn between. And we can say, well, I know this person's great at this, and I've worked with them on this. Or, we can have the conversations, but we never have the final say. I mean, at least I don't.
You can influence.
I don't get the final say either. But yeah, what we can do is just present the talent that, like you said, we're getting behind you. But it's never up to us. And a lot of times the directors or producers will come in and say, well, we want to see more. We want to see more. And all we can do is show them more until they finally decide.
Here's another question. Do you, and this is a loaded question that I got from the internet, but from my poll yesterday. Do you bring a certain number of people in, even if you don't think that those actors are going to be viable for that role? Are you told to bring a certain number of people in and you sort of just fill some of the roles? This is something that actors are asking me about.
No, and I hear that a lot, which is very weird. Like, oh, well, production, they have to see 50 people, so they're just going to bring in 50 people. And we hear that they have to see 50 people, even though they've already cast that role. It's like, none of that is true. We're not in the business of wasting anyone's time. We don't like that. We don't want to waste our own time. So, no, there's no quota that we have to meet, except for finding the right actor for the right role. So, sometimes it could be 10 people, sometimes it could be 150 people.
And I have noticed there's been times when you guys will tell us, they want to see more people for this role, and then they go and end up booking the first person that they thought of in the first round anyway. So, but sometimes they just need to make sure that that's right, correct? So, I think that there's this stigma that you guys are the gatekeepers for their entire career, and so it's interesting when I talk to you guys about how many people you have on the other side that have to make all those decisions. When it's television, it goes all the way up to the suits, right? In the network, somebody has to, yeah. So there's lots and lots of people that have to sign off on one person booking one role.
And sometimes people get kicked back. Sometimes we'll have our selection that the director loves and we all love, and they'll go up the chain and network will kick them back, and then we start the process again or go with a second choice.
I don't envy your job at all, seriously. It's a very oddly intimate, symbiotic relationship that the agents and the casting directors and the actors and the producers all have. It's all this really quick, intimate sort of thing that everyone has to trust each other. How much do you rely on your agents knowing their actors?
100%.
And that was just for me to hear something nice about myself.
I mean, yeah, because when we release a breakdown, we are relying on you to submit people that are going to be good for the role, but also that you are staking your reputation on, I know that this person can do it, and that's why I'm going to present them to you. So we trust you for that.
Yeah. So I was going to piggyback off that and just say that I always like to remind you all that each one of you individually represents New Mexico film as a whole. So if your agent trusts you, I trust your agent. Krista and I have a great relationship with them. We have great relationships with all the agents. So it's like, we trust you. And I know that the agents aren't going to throw us under the bus because all of our names are on these, letters of recommendation that are your submissions.
So yeah, we are all staking our reputations on the fact that the actor chosen will do a good job on set, not only just not embarrass us, right, but will do a good job on set and like my friend Doug, who owns the Children's Theater, says, you're always auditioning, right? You're auditioning for the next part when you're on one set because everybody's watching. So it's an important thing that we all know our actors and trust our actors, and that you respect our opinions, and the producers and directors respect your opinions.
And that's a really close relationship because sometimes we'll call in a group of people and Chris will call and go, wait a minute, how about this person? This person's really great. All right, just signed this person. They're really interesting. Okay, great. Let's see them for this. How about that? It's like, it is very much a working relationship.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about acting 101 or new actors. How many of you in this room are aspiring actors? Yeah, back in there, yeah. Welcome. You're making a great step today. This is amazing wisdom that you're hearing here. So this is a kudos to you for being here today. How can a new actor make our jobs easier? What are the things that an actor needs to start out? What do you look for?
Good headshots, training, materials that look professional, submission materials that don't look like they fell off the back of a turnip truck. It's a saying my grandma used to say. I think that's the first step is you want to train, you want to be professional, you want to, and also in New Mexico, a lot of this is networking. Like being here today is a great way to network with people. Our community is huge, but also it's small. We're a family. So be professional. Take classes, network with people, get your work in before you need an agent. You should be doing some background work. You should be doing indie films, student films, whatever that is, getting experience before you just are like, I want to be an actor and I'm going to get an agent and then I'm going to get cast. And I'm going to move to LA. And I'm probably not going to be a star.
Offer only.
And I don't know if we're going to talk about self-tape, so I was to say to have some good self-tapes.
Yes, we are in a self-tape world. That was another one of my questions. Do you like the self-tape world, and are we ever going to go back to in-person auditions? Two different questions.
Before we get to that, can I just address self-tapes really quickly? It's really, 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 really important that your self-tape looks good because we are in the self-tape era. And look, you can do your self-tape with a phone. It's like just get one of those little, like for $25 on Amazon, you can get a ring light. It holds your cell phone, and it's really, really simple to get it good. Just like at my house, I have a wall painted gray because my husband and daughter are actors, and so I just have one room where there's a wall painted gray, and that's their backdrop. We used to have a sheet up there, but it's just so simple, but it's really, really important because I've had really good performances, but that I've seen on the quality of tape is not good enough for me to put forward because you're not just showing your tape to me, you're showing your tape to the director, and then when you get cast, if it's a TV show, it's going up the chain to network, and the network executives, the suits, as Krista calls them, that are sitting at their desks in LA, if they see some not very good quality or the audio isn't good, they're going to reject it. And what a horrible reason to get rejected by network or even by the casting director going, I love this person or this performance, but I can't put their tape forward because it makes me look amateur. So just really, I just want to say, like, I can't stress it enough in the self-tape era to please just put the effort into your tape looking and sounding great.
You can also get a Bluetooth mic that hooks up to your phone for about $20 on Amazon as well.
Yes, they should always look great. But you don't even have to spend that money. If you're creative and you can't afford the $25 or the $20, prop up a bunch of books on a laundry basket, get the lighting right, get a background. You can still do this. And I think that is, I hear a lot of actors saying, like, well, now we have to do the casting director's job by making it look great. You're not camera people. That's not your job. Your job is to act. We want to hear you. We want to see you. We want to not be distracted. So it needs to look good. It doesn't need to be, the quality that it's going to be submitted to film festivals. It needs to be good to your ability.
We just need to be able to see you clearly and hear you clearly. That's the main thing.
When you're watching a self-tape, how long does it take you to figure out whether this actor is viable for this role or not?
Oh my gosh, I totally just got reamed by an actor last week on a Zoom. Because sometimes it's 10 or 15 seconds. And she was furious that I put on all this hard work and my audition's really good and maybe it gets better. And that's all well and good. But if I'm watching 60 tapes, we know right away if you're right or you're not right. And sometimes I don't get past that 10 or 15 seconds.
That seems like a lot, actually. I thought you were going to say less, but...
Say under a minute, but that is under a minute for sure.
They're also trying to make sure you guys don't get mad at them, so...
Our job is to vibe people out, to vibe actors out. And again, we know the script. We know what the director's looking for more than you do, based on you just having the breakdown on the sides. So we sort of know if you're hitting those beats or those, those character choices as the directors.
Do you like actors submitting more than one take for a scene?
I love more than one take. I prefer it. But not more than one take if they're exactly the same. Like, I didn't need to see you do the exact same thing again. And not more than one take if you're, like, taking a big risk and doing something dramatic. You're like, now I get to do whatever I want and then juggle. We don't need to see that. If you have two really strong choices that fit in the story, please show them. If you have 3, show them. If you have 4, maybe only send us 3. That's
I'm with you. I agree. And just like when you're making your choices for a second or a third take, just think, to me, it's like motivation, right? Like, and then sometimes the interpretation of the material is a little different. So if you're not sure exactly the tone for the interpretation, then give us some options. Because sometimes you're like, oh, this person didn't quite get it. And then the second take, you're like, that's what they didn't get it the first time, but they gave us another option. And it's hard because we're not in the room where we used to be able to say, oh, actually you are lying. So just do it again, but just know inside that you're not being truthful. And just having a little bit different motivation will alter your performance. So that type of thing. And as to your question of, do we think that we're ever going to be in the room again? I don't know. Who's to say, right?
I think we'll probably be back in the room for more callbacks than we've had in the past maybe 5 years. But I think what has been discovered is that self-tapes work. Producers don't need the overhead. We don't need the overhead. It works.
What are some pet peeves of actor behavior that you notice?
I feel like I'm noticing less and less bad behavior now that we're not in the room, honestly. So it's a little bit harder to vibe out personalities, per se. But one of the pet peeves, one thing that I'm saying, I don't know if you're saying this actually. We don't need to sidebar, I'll ask you now. I'm noticing, I know that, a lot of people learn that they can, give yourself a beat at the end, or give it a button or something at the end of your scene. And sometimes people add a word, add a line at the end. What I've been seeing a lot lately, obviously not super lately because I'm working, Is people giving us a button before their scene begins? So sort of like that moment before they're adding a line. And that might be the 10 or 15 seconds. And I'm like, whoa, they don't have the right sides, moving on. So that's kind of a weird thing for me. Just remember that you are working on somebody else's material, right? We would like to see your artistic proposition based on the material you've been given, but we don't need you to rewrite it.
That's true. I was going to go way more personal with the pet peeves, but that's a good point. You know, you are performing. Whoever wrote the script. Half the time it's the director or the producers, the showrunners that are going to be watching it. So yeah, have fun with it. Not too much fun. I was just going to say anything that's unprofessional, reaching out, in the DMs or, that kind of stuff. Just keep it professional. That's my, I guess, peeve.
Keep it professional. Did you guys hear that? I love it.
We don't need updates every month about what you've done.
I'm just giving out my email with your updates.
I don't want updates unless it's something super duper fantastic that you want to share. But I get a lot of those emails that are just people submitting themselves literally monthly, and it's the same email and it's the same quirky one-liner to try to hook me in, and it's the same button that makes me put it in spam.
I think they're just trying to stay on your radar. How do I get on a casting director's radar?
You know how to get on our radar is through your agent. So if you don't have representation, you get representation. Let your representation represent you.
How do I get an agent? Oh, I'm so glad you asked that. So I'll just say this quickly because we're really here to talk about casting. But to get an agent, do your homework. Figure out where you are in your career. Figure out what agents are at that same level that you are that can help get you to the next level. Find out what their requirements are for submitting. Each of the agents in New Mexico has a different set of rules for set of requirements for submitting, and it's actually a trick. It's actually we actually are asking if you can follow directions. So if I say I am only taking submissions through a form that's on my website, don't try to find my office and show up with a big bow on your head and say, well, if you met me in person, I knew you'd sign me right away. Well, I have a form on my website. Well, I know that, but I just thought if you met me in person. And I'm like, now you didn't listen to any of my instructions. And so how am I supposed to trust you? How am I supposed to stake my reputation on you if you're not paying attention to my instructions, even on something, I don't even know you. So there are different kinds of agents. There are agents that will take new people that will develop them and find the right kind of jobs early in the career. There are other agents, such as myself, that are working towards getting their established agents bigger and better roles and things like that. I work in 3 different markets. We can talk about the problems with trying to book somebody that doesn't live here. We can talk about that. That's put on that. But pay attention to agents' requirements for submitting because there are reasons why we ask you for those things, and we're all different. So you can find an agent, hopefully, that will fit you in your level of your career here in New Mexico. We have some great agents here, and we all love to take care of everybody. So I'm so glad you asked that question. Thank you.
Well, I need to say that following directions is the big thing, too, and that's the same thing for us. If we've given you very explicit directions on a self-tape or an audition, and you've done none of that, but your performance is really good, that still gives us pause because you can't follow direction. And that's a big part of being an actor.
Well, yeah, because when you're on set, you've got to follow directions, and if you don't, it just looks bad for all of us. So.
Here's another question that I got from the internet poll yesterday. When do you look at clips and when do you look at reels? And what is the difference between those? I know the answer, but I want you guys to talk about it.
I would say, okay, so clips and reels, I feel like we go through stages where speed reels were popular, and then now it's demo reels, and then it's clips. But I like all of it. The demo reels where you kind of put the highlights of all the different things you've done are very helpful, especially now that you're not in the room as much, and we have to put your forward to network without having an in-person callback and we don't know you as well, they always want to see material. So if you have a demo reel, we can just attach that to your audition and send it off. If you have clips, that's just like clips from, oh, I did Stranger Things and I did Better Call Saul and I did Hot Cheetos, or I mean Flaming Hot. Who doesn't love Hot Cheetos though? These shows all have different tones. So if I see somebody's material, I see in their profile, on your Actors Access profile, you have to upload these things and then it lives there and then we have access to it always and we never bother you or your agent for it. But anyway, if I'm submitting you for something where the tone matches something you've already done, that's what I'm going to look for. If I'm working on a comedy, I'm going to look for any kind of comedic clips that you have and probably not show your dramatic clips because I want them to see you in the right light. So if you clip out your materials, then we can be more specific in what we procure and move forward. They're both official.
Both beneficial. I was going to say exactly that. And also I wanted to speak to, for me, I really don't like seeing clips that are past auditions or monologues. Those are not helpful for me. They don't, and I've seen a number of reels lately where people have slid in auditions that they've done. Well, it was really good and I got a callback. It's like, remember that auditions are not your material. So those should never be publicized anywhere. They shouldn't be on whatever, Instagram or that's them sharing their material with you for the purpose of a job interview. You didn't get the job, so you don't get the material.
That was my next question, actually. Do you ever look at people when they've uploaded auditions to Actors Access?
I don't look at those. For me, when I'm looking at clips or reels, I'm seeing that you got your audition in on time, you maybe nailed the callback if there was a callback, you got passed through all the levels of approval, you made it to set on time, you remembered your lines when you were on set, and you didn't get the cutting room floor. There's a whole big picture that's not just, but I can deliver lines. So I like to see all of that in your reel. But a lot of people, especially in our market, are starting out and don't have that yet. And I just want to say, that's okay. You don't have to make it up to pretend that you have it. We know what market we're in. Maybe you have 15 background roles on your resume, but nothing for speaking yet. But Carissa submits you to us. We're not going to go, well, they're only background actors. Carissa's not representing you if you're a background actor. She wants to see you get a speaking role. So we're not going to go, oh, they don't have any clips or a reel. I'm not going to audition them for this one-liner. Like, I love seeing people. Let's Taft-Hartley you. That'd be great. We'd love to see this industry grow.
Let's switch gears to the more seasoned actors. How many seasoned actors do we have in the audience? Here we go. I just want to give a shout out to Jean Efron over here in the front row. She's in her 90s and still kicking, still booking. Thank you, Jean, for leading the way in New Mexico. I just had to give her a shout out. I love her so much. She's the Hummel lady from Better Call Saul, if you guys don't know. Anyway, a lot of people say I'm too old to act. You know, I'm too old because I'm not 25 and gorgeous or whatever. You're still gorgeous. It doesn't matter how old you are. But you can be doing this your whole life. So thank you, Jean, for being here today. I just had to give you a little love. For seasoned actors, everyone is always asking, how do I level up? How do I get the guest star instead of the co-star? How do I get the recurring or the or more lead kind of roles? How do I do that? And do I have to go to LA to do it?
I would say that it comes down to talent. Okay. I would just say that it comes down to talent. You know, just work hard at your craft, take it very seriously. And when we see time and time again that your performances are being elevated every time. And that doesn't mean you're booking every time, because there's a million reasons why you do or don't book, but seeing the performances. And so you just keeping after it. And regardless, I think you're just going to keep getting better and better as long as you stay at it. And I mean, we all know you don't need to move to LA. If you're even asking if you need to move to LA, then you need to move to LA. Obviously, especially now that we're in like the self-tape era and everything is kind of online, you can be anywhere. And in fact, most of the people in LA left and they're just sending in tapes now from their parents' house or whatever.
It's nice to live here and work in LA. I live here. I choose to live here and work in LA and Atlanta, and I love living here.
What you said. Don't move to LA. I mean, really, it is kind of, I think it's an outdated, which is very sweet. It's very the Hollywood romanticism or something, I'm going to be an actor and go to Hollywood, but Hollywood is everywhere. So really, be where you want to be. If you want to be in LA because you just like LA, great. But both Angelique and I have seen a number of actors who leave here because they're going to move to LA and they don't really see a lot of auditions and they have a really hard time finding an agent. And after a couple years, they come home. So.
Well, and I think it's different too. I mean, if you would have asked this question 5 years ago, the answer may have been different, but now we're in the I was just gonna say, like back when, 5-10 years ago when there was like pilot season and you had to go out to auditions in person every single day, drive around LA, that was a different time. Now in the self-tape time, everybody's auditioning from everywhere. So if you want to work in LA, if you have a rep in LA or like figuratively, I mean, like Carissa said, she represents people in LA. She has an LA office. That's all you need to be getting auditions in LA. And just remember, you're just going to be in a bigger pool. You're going to be a smaller fish in a bigger pool out there.
And our opportunities are growing tremendously in New Mexico. And I think that's because of the work that you guys are doing to level up, but also what your casting directors are doing. We're having those conversations with our producers and saying, well, wait, we can see those guest stars here. Wait, we have those recurring or whatever it is. Like, let us show you who we have. And the more of those that we get, the more of those who we get. So keep training so you can all be leveling up and we can continue on that upward trajectory of seeing these bigger roles.
That's great. The last question on this, when should an actor get a manager, and how do you work? Do you work differently with managers and agents?
Can I take that? I'm gonna say
It's a loaded question.
again. If you're asking if you need a manager, I'm gonna say you don't. I mean, basically, it's when you're so busy that you don't have time to talk to your agent. You talk to your manager. Your manager manages you and your career. And if you're so busy, you have so many opportunities that you don't know which one to take, and you don't have time to talk to your agent, you talk to your manager and they help you navigate your career. And then your manager talks to your agent and they discuss what they both agree is the best opportunity for you.
I can tell you too, I don't know if you're in the same boat. Angelique's way more popular than I am, I know that. But I've watched a number of roles in New Mexico be lost to actors because they thought their managers needed to get involved. And New Mexico is not necessarily a market where you do need a manager. So, I'll email Carissa and suddenly I'll have a manager emailing me back. Well, this person is only going to work for this rate, or, they need this and can they travel in? And it's my producers go, who's second choice?
Yeah.
You don't bite the hand that feeds you just yet. Once you're at that caliber where you need somebody to really help wrangle things for you, then good on you. That's awesome. Congratulations. But I think the majority of our actors here aren't there yet. So I wouldn't worry about that. Don't get a manager, and don't have your manager call me or Angelique.
The other thing is I learned how to be an agent here in New Mexico, and I think I learned how to be an agent/manager. And I think one of the beauties of this New Mexico market is that we take better care of each other than most other markets do. And so I think a lot of us agents are actually doing more manager work than other agents in other markets might be as well. So
You have a more intimate relationship with your clients. Yeah.
Can I just say something?
And I'm not a jerk. No.
Leave your agents alone. I talk very closely with all of our agents, and y'all are emailing some weird stuff. They got a lot of things going on. Leave them alone. If it's really, really important and it is something that is going to really have a huge bearing on your career, shoot an email and say urgent. If it's just like, how come my friend auditioned last week and I didn't audition this week? Carissa, don't do it.
A lot of times actors say, I didn't know whether I was still getting submitted or whether you were mad at me. And I'm like, I think you would know if I was mad at you. And why would I keep you on my roster if I'm not submitting you? That's how I make my money. I don't make money by you being on my roster. So just keep in mind that we don't get paid until you get paid. So that's the motivator, one of the major motivators for for me at least, submitting actors.
We hear that a lot. Well, I don't think my agent submits me. I'm like, your agents are submitting you for roles you're not even right for. Like, seriously, are you going to submit this guy again? Like, he's not.
Are you talking about me?
Talking about all 7.
I'm just-
But again, it's because your agent doesn't get paid unless you work. They are submitting you. They are submitting you for everything that you could possibly be right for. Trust them. If you're not trusting your agent, then maybe it's time to move on because your agent is working with you.
That's good.
And just because we're almost ending, I just want to say, to quash another rumor, Angelique and I are not married to each other. That wasn't it. I'm just kidding.
In case you're wondering.
We're always in your corner. Casting, we watch your tapes, and we're always in your corner. We're inviting you to an audition. We are hopeful that you are going to have something wonderful to deliver. So get rid of the idea that, like, again, the gatekeeper, we're these scary people on the other side of your computer. We're not. We're silly. We're goofy. We were all texting last night being super ridiculous. We're just people who are all same size puzzle pieces of the same puzzle that you want to be in. So we all work together.
Yeah, because if you don't look good, we don't look good.
That's right. Thank you guys so much for today. Unfortunately, thank you, Marie and Angelique. Unfortunately, they have to slip out the back, but I will be out in the lobby answering any other questions about where babies come from or whatever you want to ask me. So thank you so much, and thank you to AFMX for this wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, Kira and Ivan. Thank you so much.